because each student with CVI can be wildly different from one to the next, it really depends. But some things that we see that are common across the board is that it is incredibly difficult for any person to focus when there is not structure and in a noisy environment. So imagine being at like a pep rally or like an assembly of some kind where there's a lot of noise echoing around, or if you're in a really uncontrolled kindergarten classroom. If you are already struggling to use your vision, or if you're not using your vision efficiently, such that you are, you go through your vision faster than everyone else in that classroom potentially, then the auditory piece of your brain trying to sort out what's coming at you from an auditory piece and a visual piece, that's going to gas vision out quicker too. Um, any classroom or environment where there's a lot going on visually is going to be difficult for a student with CVI, or any student, but a student with CVI, to focus on what should be the most important thing in front of them. So if you think about, walking into a college classroom and having every wall covered with like advanced mathematical like equations, and like, what is the most important thing here? How do I know what I should be focusing on? And that's more of an extreme example, but in a really busy classroom, a student with CVI may be working incredibly hard to determine what is the most important thing that I should be paying attention to in this moment. And then their brain has to find that thing or determine that thing, and then try and sort out all the other information that's coming at them. And for kiddos with, depending on their degree, like they are going to gas through their vision pretty quick because their brain is trying to do so many things at once.
So a lot of times we recommend, depending upon the severity of the CVI, maybe a black background, and then high contrast materials that are put one or two at a time, depending upon how severe their CVI is, um, or maybe they just have their desk taped up. Maybe they have to have a black screen in front of them to help them to focus on whatever needs to be focused on visually, to block out. Have you ever been in an elementary classroom? They got stuff hanging from the ceilings. They got stuff all over the walls. It's really busy. That can distract a student from being able to visually focus on the materials the student wants them to focus on. Sometimes classrooms are super noisy, so we say if you really want the student to focus visually, they need to be in a quieter environment, you know? So either have all the students be really quiet in the room, or have that student be in an area that's not quite so loud, for that particular thing you want them to focus on, and then bring them back. So it just depends on on what that student really needs, and that's determined by the assessment.